Hello, hello. Thank you all for joining us on our info night. My name is Doug Postma,
My name is Megan Baker.
And I'm Constance Bradley.
and we are here just to give you all the info and the lowdown on Road Christian Academy. But before we do that, I'm going to just pray for our night, pray for the Academy itself, and pray for everyone who's listening or who may listen. So let me do that. God, we thank you just for your wisdom and your will. God, we thank you that we have a place to come and we can teach this generation coming up behind us, God, and we can pour out all we know and all we have into those who follow us. God, would you be here tonight? Would you be the center of all we talk about and the center of all we do? God, we thank you again, just that we have the resources to do this and just the willingness of the people listening, the people following, and God, would you lead us in this? In your name we pray. Amen. Yeah. So tonight we are going to talk a whole lot about who we are and what we are embarking in. And so with that, I think with any great institution, any great thing, we need a mission and some core values to lead us in that. And so what is Road Christian Academy's mission and core values?
Our mission is to provide a foundational education through proven methods that will equip our children to pursue the calling that God has on their life. Our three core values and our pillars are: we are going to be mission driven. We are driven to share the gospel, not only in word, but also in deed. And our second core value is to pursue excellence. So our standards are high, and we accept instruction, we revise, and we persevere. And our third pillar is to lead the way. So we seek the kingdom of God first, and just like Noah, although the world may not understand, we're going to follow God above all else, and we lead by example, and we raise the bar.
Yeah, so if you are watching, hopefully you know that tonight is going to be mostly about what it looks like to be a staff here at the Academy. And so with that being said, what qualities are you looking for in the staff?
I think our most important qualities that we're looking for with our staff is that they have a relationship with Jesus, that they're humble, that they're a team player. We're starting out with a really small staff, so having everybody contribute and be a team player is super important, but also that the people coming onto the staff have the ability to contribute to the success of the school.
Also, if you are watching, listening right now, you can type whatever questions you have in the comments. We have a whole lot of questions that have already been asked, but we're going to get to all of them tonight. So don't be afraid to ask some questions. I'm watching it right here. And but with that, you said you are excited for your staff to contribute. How much input are your teachers and your staff going to be able to have in what this looks like and what they're going to be doing?
Our teachers are going to be a huge part of who RCA is, and we value their opinion on the classroom setting, the curriculum, the roles, and the requirements that we have for the teachers. All of that's super important. So we want their input, and we believe that they will help shape the school.
That's awesome. How will Christian faith be integrated into the school?
Through everything, every aspect of RCA, including our curriculum, daily discipleship time that we have at the beginning of the day. So our family resources, we have some goals for sending out school-wide read-alouds, and even our lunch is going to be dedicated directly to biblical principles.
Is this a new concept, or are there schools that you have looked at to kind of model RCA after, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so we have explored many different learning environments over the last 6 months. We have toured some that were an absolute no, and we've gleaned a lot of information from no's, actually. But there are 3 schools that we've seen be very successful, and we are adopting the majority of our concepts of how we want RCA to look on a day-to-day basis through Michaela Community School, who is in London, Veritas Academy, that is in Austin, Texas, and John Adams Academy in California. So it's definitely not going to be one of them, but we're taking all the aspects that we love from those 3 schools and implementing them at RCA.
Nice. What accreditation, what does that look like? Is it just, what does it look like?
So accreditation is a big question that we're getting from a lot of people, and we are currently looking at a few different accreditation options, but that is still in discussion at the school board. So there'll be more information to come. We definitely will not be accredited the first year. If you know anything about accreditation, you have to be established for at least 1 year prior to getting the accreditation. So we're seeking that, but it will not happen year 1, and it's still at discussion at the board which accreditation we're headed for.
Nice. Good information to start. What does a day look like? So we're looking at K through 8th, right? And so I remember kindergarten, getting naps and all of that, and I wish I had naps in 8th grade, which might not happen, but it could happen. I don't know. So what is the daily schedule, and then maybe the yearly schedule? What does that look like?
So daily schedule, all of these things are still in flux and being worked out as far as finalizing all of these details. But the daily schedule is going to be pretty standard, and same with the yearly schedule to what you see in any other traditional school. Start school in September, end school in the end of May. 8 to 3 is a pretty typical school day, and Monday through Friday. And then yearly we'll observe the same federal holidays, the same holiday breaks that you see with traditional schools.
So when I was in Sacramento area, they had ski week. Are you guys going to have ski week?
That would be excellent.
It was like President's Week. That same week, they just gave the whole week off so they can go.
We definitely have a lot of ideas that we're gleaning from all of these other schools that have done really great events. And so we have some things in the hopper that are going to be pretty awesome.
Pretty exciting. Yeah. What will, for the teachers who are listening, what will in-class and prep hours as a teacher look like?
So the typical day for a staff member will probably begin around 7:30, end around 3:30. We are obviously going to have days where you might need to be here a little bit earlier, leave a little bit later. But prep time and break time are going to be able to happen throughout the school day. So you'll have recess and lunch that are both going to be supervised by admin and volunteers. And then also every day the students will have an elective, and that will also be supervised by somebody other than them. So they will have chunks throughout the day to go ahead and do prep. And then we're also working on that weekly school schedule to potentially have an early dismissal for students on Fridays, giving teachers the Friday afternoon to do prep work for the following week.
In any organization, anywhere you work, how often are you going to meet as a staff?
Staff meetings, at least for this first year, will be weekly, once a week.
Okay, so this is a new word for me, but looking at the information, it describes a Socratic discussion at lunch periods. What does that look like? What does that even mean?
Well, lunch, we want to take lunch as an opportunity to have the students be growing in gratitude and servitude. So there will be aspects of serving each other during the lunch meal, also opportunity to express gratitude, something that they're thankful for with the people that they're sharing their table with. But with the Socratic discussions, the goal there is to utilize that time to encourage conversation and connection. So for each table set up, there will be an adult volunteer leader that'll lead the students in just an interesting discussion. Questions like, would you rather be surprised or right? Something that will allow kids to conversate well, and why not use that lunchtime to learn even more?
Will there be any extracurricular activities?
Yes.
And
So
who will be teaching those?
yes. So this first year, we're looking at having art, music, and PE be electives for the school. And those classes will be taught by volunteers or administration. So those will be, the teachers won't be in charge of teaching that.
Are you going to use the Bob Ross curriculum for art? Because that would just be super cool. Happy accidents, everyone.
I love Bob Ross.
Is there after school care?
Not this first year. It's something that we're open to in the future for sure, but not this first year.
If you are putting your questions in the comment box, I see them. Don't worry. Most of them are going to be answered coming up here soon. So if you have a question, I'm not forgetting you, and you will not be missed. I promise. So what do we need to know is kind of like our next section, and it's going to be broken up into a few things, but we're going to start with the classroom. And this one's interesting. We were joking about this one, but what will the classroom setup be at ECF? And I joked, if you donate enough money, it won't be here at ECF. It'll be at Rogue Christian Academy. That's all on me, not on them, not on anyone else. That's a Dougie Fresh special. So what will the setup look like here at Edgewater?
So all of the classrooms are going to be taking over all of ECF facilities. As far as the kids wing, we're going to be utilizing the entire kid wing, and then also the main building lobby, and then the chapel area over at the office. So in lieu of desks, we're going to have tables and chairs. And due to the facilities being shared, there's obviously going to be some rotation of, what looks like on Wednesday versus what it looks like on Thursday morning are going to be two very different things. So we'll have tables and chairs in lieu of desk. The toys and things like that will be moved out. So there's been question of, how distracting could that possibly be? We agree. So there will be some turnover there. We're also a low technology school. So there is going to be some tech available. It's going to be a whiteboard, dry erase markers and whiteboards. We'll also have TVs in the classroom and a visualizer. So it's simplifying. So we are not bringing in a lot of extras, and due to budget and location, we're going to work with the current facilities that we have. And so there is going to be some budget for purchasing necessary supplies and things like that to go along with the curriculum, but it will be minimal, and it's going to be great because it's going to be minimal.
Moving things in and out, what does storage look like?
So thankfully, we have a facilities manager here at Edgewater, and they are taking that part of that on. So teachers are not going to be responsible for moving things in and out, but they will have storage. So as a teacher, you have materials and things like where is it going to stay. There is opportunity for the way that the building is already set up for teachers to store the materials in their classroom, as well as the students having their individual storage in the classroom also. So there will be turnover, but for the most part, their materials will stay right there in class.
Nice. What does having volunteers in the classroom look like, or student aides?
Yeah, so our goal is that we will have volunteers and aides in every classroom where it's necessary. And they're going to be vetted through the same systems as the teachers are. So it's not just going to be anybody in the classroom. We'll make sure to have for substitutes and volunteers, they will go through the same safety protocols and the things that we do with the teachers also before they're in there.
Talking about what's going to happen in the classroom, curriculum, what curriculum are you thinking about using, and how much supplementing and adapting can the teachers do?
Yeah, so we are going to be using Abeka for math, and then we're going to be using Memoria Press for every other subject that we're teaching. And so adaptation and supplementation, all of that can be discussed with the administrators.
Why use the classical model?
Yeah, so this has been a question we get all the time. Why use classical? It's one that has been proven for generations. It doesn't only teach the subject, but it also teaches character development right alongside your subject or your subject matter, such as history or science. So it's deep rooted in the studies of great literature, and it cycles through subjects. So students grow deeper and deeper knowledge as they go that actually follows the child's cognitive development.
As far as being a teacher, what subjects will teachers be teaching?
Yeah. So the subjects that will be taught, for the most part, there are going to be some slight variations, but K through 8 will be learning a lot of the same things. So language arts, which is going to include phonics, reading, writing, spelling, grammar, penmanship. Then there's also math, history, geography, cultural studies, science, fine arts, poetry, American and modern studies, and then classical studies in Latin. It's a lot.
Why teach Latin?
Yeah, so why teach Latin? The Latin, it is a tool that has great breakdowns of linguistics. So when you're studying Latin, it actually helps the student master the English language. So, and not only does it help them master their main language that they're using, but it prepares them for a secondary language also. So Latin is a key tool that has been called the lost language, and it's really sad that it has been lost because it's got great tools to help kids succeed in other areas.
As a middle school teacher, if that's what I get hired for, what am I going to be teaching different subjects, or what does that look like?
Yes. So in our middle school years, we are going to put teachers where that they are their best strengths, where they're gifted at. So if you're a math teacher, we're going to have you in math.
I think lunch.
Lunch is going to be your subject.
Yeah. Is that a
Perfect.
subject?
You'll
Yes.
be there. Yes.
Yes.
We're learning at lunch. Absolutely.
I think with anything school related, I remember K through 8th, there were some discipline things that happened. What is the discipline policy for RCA?
Yeah, discipline is something that we've been discussing pretty extensively. It seemed to be a high concern from teachers that we were talking to, just curious as to how we're going to go about that. So our goal is to have a safe learning environment where students thrive, where teachers are free to teach. So we will use the typical demerit, detention, suspension program, but we will have a zero tolerance policy for disruption in the classroom, for disrespect of any persons, for bullying, harassment on or off campus. We will have restorative practices as well, but they will be tempered. And all of our expectations as far as our students are concerned academically and behaviorally are going to be laid out very, very clearly for the students at an event we call boot camp. So boot camp is going to be the week before school begins, and it's kind of like an extended student orientation. So all of the expectations as far as the student's behavior is concerned will be laid out very clearly. So when they come into school day one, they know exactly what is expected of them.
Who's going to take care of that outside of the classroom? Like, Doug, I've had enough. Go see so-and-so.
You're going to the principal's office.
Oh.
Yeah, so Braden Schmidt, who, if you are an Edgewater churchgoer, if you have children in the kids wing, you know exactly who Braden Schmidt is. He is going to be in that position of principal, and so that will include being the school's disciplinarian. Obviously, he has a lot of experience with child behavior management, and he's really wonderful at it. He has that gentle way about him, but he's also he's firm when he needs to be. So
I don't know if we skipped this one, but I see it here, so I'm just going to ask it right in this section. Is there going to be special needs?
Oh, that's coming up. We were going to talk about students. And
Is that in this one?
Yeah.
Hey, there it is. We're going to start with that one.
Yeah.
Students with special needs. This was a big question that came from multiple teachers. What does that look like?
Yeah, so for special needs students, we are not going to have at least this first year, a dedicated program for special needs. It doesn't mean that we are not able to serve kids that maybe are on an IEP or may have some special needs. It will have to be on a case-by-case basis and working closely with the teachers and the family to see if we can serve them, but we will not have a dedicated program to special needs.
Is the school only open to Christian families?
The school is open to anyone who is willing to abide by and agree with the requirements that are laid out in our parent-student handbook.
What are the most important things you want to impart on the students?
Yeah, so the most important things that we want to impart on them is a personal relationship with Jesus and to know how to learn, but also to be independent thinkers. You too, Doug?
I mean, I like the independent thinking and, you know, deductive reasoning, inductive, yep.
Yes.
Anyways, what will student applications and admissions procedure be?
Yeah, so it's going to be a 3-step process. So we'll have an application followed by an interview and testing, and that's going to be to determine their academic readiness and to make sure that they have correct placement.
What happens if you get too few students or too few teachers?
This has also been a pretty popular question. So we do not have a minimum enrollment requirement to start RCA. We will open the doors, whether there's 1 or 180, we're going to open the doors. So same with teachers. If we don't have enough qualified teachers, obviously we'll need to temper that with the student enrollment. So there will be some tempering on student enrollment if we have too few teachers, but we're still going to open the door either way.
I didn't have the privilege of wearing a uniform. It came actually the year after I graduated high school, which was pretty awesome. What will the uniform or dress code for students be?
Yes, so we will have a uniform for all students. And the purpose behind that is that uniforms minimize any unnecessary distractions. And it also reduces the need for any behavior management from teachers. And it also simplifies clothing purchases for families too. So it's real simple. You buy the uniform, that's what you're wearing to school. So it simplifies the process.
Can I get one?
Yes.
You're going to make
Please
it big enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Big kid uniforms
Well,
come right at you.
I just, probably bigger than any middle schooler. Moving right along into how testing and grades are going to work. What are the testing expectations?
Well, the tests are built into the majority of the curriculum. So because, though, classical curriculum has a really high emphasis on memorization, and as a school, we are going to encourage students to work on their memory and recall during homework. So because of that, like certain testing resources like note cards or open book aren't going to be encouraged. At the same time, if you're a teacher, you have a student who takes a test, you feel like they deserve to take a retake, that is going to be teacher discretion.
What about for the grade book? Will the teachers be setting it up, and are they going to be kind of in charge of the different weights and categories and where they think
Yes.
what's important is important?
Yes. So Quick Schools is going to be our school management system. Teachers will have the flexibility to manage their grade books the way that they see best fit for their classroom. There is going to be some expectations for assignments to be graded every week by the teachers. And we will do progress reports specifically for middle school halfway through each quarter, report cards, traditional report cards for every student school-wide at the end of every quarter. We're going to do standard letter grades. And there is going to be one required parent-teacher conference midway point through the year. At the same time, we do really want to create connection between the teacher and the students and the families. So if a family or a parent does request additional parent-teacher conferences, we would ask the teachers to be open to that within reason.
talking about lunch, because that's going to be the subject that I teach. I really like this restaurant downtown. Can I take the students there for like a field trip, or what do field trips look like?
Yeah, field trips, we are going to do be open absolutely to the idea of doing different field trips together as a school or individually as classes. So really we're going to be encouraging teachers to use field trips as opportunities, especially to work alongside their students and what they are learning.
Awesome. Who are the administrators and what do their roles look like for the academy?
Yes, so we have a school board, so the board of trustees. They are Charity Heverly, myself, Danny York, Debbie Dennis, Eric Henderson, Jim Brumbach, Megan, and they oversee all of the operations of the school. They cast vision, work through budgeting, staff evaluations, hiring and firing. Megan and myself are the administrators. And so our role is to oversee the day-to-day operations. And then, as Megan has said already, Braden is the principal, and his role is going to be a lot of the student body and behavioral management.
What about security?
Security, yes. So security has been a big question too. The building will always be locked. And we also have a head of security for outdoor activities. It's going to be supervised by faculty. All visitors are going to be required to check in, check out. So there will be not complete lockdown because we want our kids to be free, but it will definitely be secure.
Is there any policies as far as COVID? I know it's just we need to ask those questions.
The answer is no. We believe in medical and personal freedoms.
Okay, but I have a cool like cat mask I want to wear,
We believe in freedom.
so I can wear it. It's just not required.
Exactly.
Okay, awesome, super sweet.
I want to see that mask.
Okay. Now, I think a lot of the people watching, these are going to be the questions that they want to hear. It's, what do you need from us teachers? And so the first one is there a staff statement of faith?
Yes, sir. There is going to be a staff statement of faith, and it must be aligned to and signed by every faculty member.
How are the teachers evaluated each year?
So we're going to have quarterly and annual evaluations that are going to be done by the principal through a rubric that the school board sets up. There will be periodic observations by the principal, by the administrators as well. And we're also going to have parent and student surveys that go out. That is going to allow students and families to have an opportunity to input what it is that they think.
What training or professional development opportunities will there be / required for the teachers?
Okay, so we're working on some opportunities for teachers to be able to partake in different trainings. A lot of people are not familiar with classical education, for example. So Memoria Press, the curriculum that we are using, they have a conference that's during July every year. So we are going to be we're going to have like training and professional development opportunities throughout the year, but we are not going to have specific requirements.
Is there a dress code for teachers? Do they have to buy a uniform?
They do not have to buy a uniform, but we are going to have a dress code. Our pastor, Matt, referred to it as Southern Oregon Professional. So what that means is, it's put together, it's modest, but it's not formal.
Denim suits.
No.
Oh. Oh. Okay. Do you have teacher in-service days like most schools do? Or what does that look like?
We do not. So there are currently no in-service days planned. What teachers do have, though, in lieu of in-service days is a half day every Friday for any planning or follow-up work that they need to do.
What about sick days and personal days?
We'll follow all of Oregon state standards on that.
So I get my 3 governor business days.
Is that a thing?
That is a thing, yeah.
We
Yep.
will follow the standards.
There. I think it's only for state employees, but it is what it is. Oh, what is the pay?
So the pay is going to be commensurate to experience, but it's also going to be very competitive with the public school system.
Okay, I'm really good at lunch, so so I expect, expect you
High
to
lunch pay.
dish it out. What is the salary schedule?
So salary schedule is, it begins in mid-August and it runs through mid-June. And so those payments are twice a month. So they'll receive their check twice a month.
Will my child receive free tuition if I teach here?
No, there will not be free tuition. There is going to be financial aid, but that is still in the discussion with the school board. So there may be a discount, but like I said, it's still in discussion with the school board, but there will not be free tuition.
Are there health benefits, retirement packages, 401k?
Yes, so we would love the opportunity to provide as many benefits as we possibly can. The reality is that costs a lot of money. So an option that we have been able to come up with is a bonus structure. And so our teachers will have the opportunity to obtain a bonus and be able to apply that however they want or however they see fit. And then they do have an option as teachers to be able to pay in if they want to build into their own retirement. But as far as a benefit package where we're issuing a health insurance policy, not at this time, hopefully in the future.
What is the policy / procedure for needing a substitute? Can I just call my mom and say, hey, cover lunch?
So our substitutes, they are going to go through the same process as our teachers as far as, like we talked about with volunteers, the safety standards, making sure they're capable of doing the job. But in a pinch that, if it was a last minute emergency, our administration staff can step in and fill that role. But if it's a planned event, we will have substitutes available for teachers.
Okay, well, that is all of them. I did skip a question, though, and that's the tech question.
Yes,
yeah.
you did.
Yes, but you kind of answered it already. We're going to be high-tech, a non-tech.
Non-tech.
Non-tech whiteboard school. Hey, at least it's not a chalkboard because chalkboards hurt my ears.
Chalkboards, and they were dusty.
Yeah.
No, but on that, one of our policies is going to be there's no cell phones for students allowed on campus.
Back to the behavior component
Is there a
yes.
place to leave my cell phone?
In your parents' car.
at home.
There it is. All right, we're going to move to some of the comments here, comment questions. This half of this has already been answered, but will all teachers be full-time? And with that was kind of the benefits part of that. But what does scheduling look like as far as hours go?
Yeah, so all teachers currently will be full-time. We have entertained the idea of possibly needing a part-time person, but from the beginning, we do not think it will be necessary. So all teachers that we are looking for right now will be full-time.
Will there be one teacher per grade, or teachers teach by subject?
So for the kindergarten through 5th grade, our goal is to have one teacher for each of those grades. For middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th, that's where we're going to hopefully have 3 teachers that rotate between, whether it's math and science, language arts, etc. That's the goal.
Tommy's asking specifically, is there going to be a need or for an educational assistant for special needs? So
Maybe if we ever had a special needs program, but not for year 1.
how many students per class do you plan to have?
So we have a cap of 25 students per class. So that's our cap number. Past that, that's the only number assigned currently.
Will the academy be a separate 501c3 or will it fall under Edgewater?
We're currently under Edgewater. And we, eventually we will be our own entity, but right now we are under the umbrella of Edgewater.
We answered this a little bit, but can you just go into more detail if teachers are required to have a teaching degree?
Yeah, I think that's actually one of the questions that we missed. Are the teachers required to be licensed, and will a teacher be required to be licensed once the school is accredited? We intend to hire the most qualified teachers regardless of licensing. So the accreditation will not be dependent on licensing.
How do we go about applying for these teacher jobs?
Yeah, so on the website, so roguechristianacademy.org, if you scroll down to the very bottom, there is a hyperlink to the PDF for the application. You can fill that out, scan it, and email it in to info@roguechristianacademy.org, or you can drop it off here at the Edgewater office.
I lost my place. What is the cost of tuition? Do we know that yet?
Yeah. So that's going to be all of that stuff for students, and all of that is going to be given on March 12th when we have our information night, which is for students, families, community partners, and all of that.
Can't give us a sneak peek?
We have rough numbers, but we're still, it's still being worked out with the board.
Will there be paid assistant roles or just volunteers?
No, at this time it'll only be for volunteer positions.
Does the curriculum meet the Oregon State standards?
And surpasses them.
Oregon State standards.
Yes, so it will definitely provide a higher academic requirement from our students than the Oregon State standards.
What qualifications or history in teaching and administrative roles do the admins have currently?
Yeah, so we do not. We do not have any qualifications or teaching experiences. I shouldn't say no teaching experience. We both have taught in homeschool communities. Megan has taught music. We are two moms who are passionate about education, passionate about our students, or our personal students, our children, about their future. We're passionate about their spouses and our grandkids that are coming down the line. So we believe that we are called by God to be in this role. We absolutely do not have the qualifications for it, but we trust that the Lord will equip us as we move forward. We have an outstanding board who is overseeing all of this. We have previous experience as far as problem solving and all of the actual skill set that it's need to be an administrator. We have that. We just don't have that in a school setting. So thanks for the question.
And Braden too. He would fall under that.
Braden would fall under that.
He's
currently in school to actually finish his degree as an administrator. So he will be qualified. He's in that process right now. He should be graduated here pretty quick.
And with that too, I think, it's something that has been discussed, and I think it's probably a question on a lot of people's minds, like, why us? And we are in that same boat. Like, we ended up here, and it's pretty amazing, and we're super humbled and honored to be able to be in this position. But I think it's interesting because one of the advantages that comes from not knowing means you ask a lot of questions, and we're listening to a lot of different people. And with Rogue Christian Academy, we want to be able to do something that makes sense and perhaps is a little bit different. Maybe we're going to do things, maybe we're going to question how, why do homework this way? Why do we grade this way? Why do we do lunch this way? But we're being thoughtful, and we're thinking about all of these different aspects. And I think our lack of experience is actually a strength in that way, because we are asking questions that maybe aren't being asked by traditional schools.
Can you remind us what electives are going to be offered for this first year?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Electives this first year, we're going to do art, music, and PE.
Another question, will there be more than one class per grade?
So for kindergarten, yes, we are going to have an AM kindergarten class and a PM kindergarten class, but that will be the same instructor, it will be the same teacher. So it also is very dependent upon enrollment. So we are asking that teachers that are applying that they be flexible in the grade level that they are applying for. If we have, 20 second graders and 75 fifth graders, we're going to have more than one fifth grade class at that point. So student enrollment will be very indicative of what classes we will have. But we will not know that until after our information meeting on March 12th.
Will there be a possibility for maybe a team for teaching if both of them want to be part-time? Like maybe even for the AM, PM kindergarten class?
Yeah, we don't have an answer for that, but we definitely would be open to discussing that with the board.
What makes RCA different than the other Christian schools in the area?
I think that there's a lot of really amazing schools around our valley, thankfully. I think that having as many alternatives to traditional is important. And I think that all of us seek to have students graduate or come from our schools that have a relationship with Jesus, that are smart, are driven, know what they want to do with their life. And so I don't know that necessarily our goals are different. There isn't a classical education school in the valley, so I think our curriculum and that, part of what we do will be different. Perhaps some of our methods will be different, but I think the heart is the same, and it's to love and to serve the kids of this valley.
Will there be a need for admissions personnel? And with that, I guess, expound a little bit. Is it just teachers you're looking for at this moment, or what kind of roles are you looking for?
It is, yeah. So right now, with starting out, we are just looking for K through 8 teachers.
Will elective teachers cover all grades or different teachers for different grades?
Will elective teachers cover all grades or different teachers for different grades? I think whoever we have that's going to be teaching those different electives, they'll do so for all grade school and middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one is, what type of art and music specifically? For example, choir bands, orchestra, sketch painting, digital art, Bob Ross.
Yeah. All those things are... did they ask Bob Ross for real?
No, that was me. Sorry.
But
it said et cetera, so I think Bob Ross falls under et cetera.
Classical education does hinge on the classics, so there will be elements of classical music, classical art that are a part of that. At the same time, we'll probably, branch into anything in a creative field, you're going to be able to branch into various aspects of it. So, again, those details are all in flux and still being determined.
Who evaluates the teachers in the classroom?
Yeah, we answered that earlier. The evaluation, so that evaluation rubric is established by the board, but the administrators, including myself and Megan and Braden, will all be, popping in, making sure all things are going well, that our teachers are well supported, and Braden specifically will be the one to do the evaluation and turn that into the board.
As you're applying, can you apply to teach music or art specifically? And if so, how do you do that?
Via volunteer. So we're not hiring a specific, other than middle school, but even in our middle school grade levels, it's not going to be an elective teacher that we are hiring. So we are looking for community partners in that way for the elective courses.
Is there any option for athletics?
We hope so. Yes, we hope so. That is definitely on our heart, and we hope that RCA sees that in the future. But as far as year one, no.
Classical would be like Greco-Roman wrestling and not freestyle, right? Yeah, so just old school.
We'll host our own Olympic Games.
Are you looking for a recess person or recess, not Reese's? Sorry, double take. Or will it be covered by actual teachers?
So the teachers are actually going to get breaks for recess, and for lunch are going to be supervised by administrators and volunteers.
So there's no PE teacher specifically?
Not your one.
Well, there goes my hopes and dreams. Let's see. How often will the kids have chapel? Is that a thing?
Yeah, so we will not have a specific chapel hour. What we do have is every single day we will have discipleship, and during our lunch hour, that will be included there. We also have part of our curriculum is Christian studies, so they are learning biblical history every single year in different segments, back to the classical model of that being deeper and deeper knowledge. So it's not an all-school chapel, it's every single day discipleship.
This question is an interesting one, and I'd love to get your perspective. It's, what do you think about the whole school musicals K through 5?
A whole school musical K through 5?
That's what it says. About
Pinch me, I'm dreaming. That'd be amazing. I come from a musical background and theater and all of those kinds of things. Again, when it comes to the yearly school calendar and different events that we're planning on doing, I don't know. Is there going to be a musical talent night? Maybe. Is there going to be a Christmas program? Maybe. So, yeah, those things are definitely in the hopper.
Sign me up for tree number 4. Do you know if students will be able to play on sports teams with public schools, or what's the...
Yes, so I believe the Oregon State ruling on that is if your private school does not provide that sport, you are eligible for playing in the school district of which your residence is.
That is super cool. Well, we have come to the end of the questions. Maybe give a couple of seconds. If you have any questions, please pop them right there in the comments. We'd be happy to answer them. If not, we can be done. Yeah.
See you on March 12th.
Yes.
Yeah, this person said, this is all very exciting, and I'll definitely be there on March 12th. Thank you so much. Can you just give a little bit what March 12th looks like, times and vision maybe?
So March 12th is our information night. So it's where there's going to be a ton of information given about the school, about our policies. With the school board, we're all going to be there, and it's going to be an opportunity for all of these details that have been kind of given out and listed and pertaining mostly to teachers, given out, but like the way that they'll apply to students and to families. So questions about tuition, curriculum, uniform, all of those kinds of things, those will be addressed again, but in more detail. And again, it's March 12th, 6:30 in the main sanctuary here at the church.
In person.
In person.
In person, yes.
Not live.
Yes.
I mean live in person, not live like we are now.
Yes.
A few more questions and then we can be done. Will there be summer school?
No. There will not be.
Is summer school a bad thing?
No. I mean, as a homeschooler, I've schooled year-round for years. I enjoy it. But for staff and Edgewater relief for the building, there will not be summer school.
Summer school for me was like a negative. Like, you didn't do well. You got summer school.
The goal will be to teach kids to love to learn. So hopefully they'll love summer school.
Oh.
We're not going to have it, though, so even if they love it, it doesn't matter.
When will interviews begin for teachers?
So interviews will be starting very quickly. So on that note, applications, we need those in as soon as possible. Interviews are starting. So we already have quite a few applications in, and we will post on this the deadline for that. Just want to confirm that back with the board before I say it on a live, but we will have a deadline for applications. So if you are at all interested, please go ahead and get those filled out. Like we said, we have the information night, and student enrollment starts on March 12th. So we would like to know who our teachers are as soon as possible.
Can you talk a little more about the discipleship hour?
anything specific on that. There's been, so like we said, there's a lot of fluidity to everything that we are doing because it is year one. We have a really good foundation of where we're headed, but there's a lot of things that are fluid. So within a specific hour of what the classroom is going to look like, there's going to be a lot of teacher influence on that. So to say exactly what that looked like, I don't think would be a fair statement. But things that we have tossed around are having people come in and share their testimony, being able to offer a safe space for kids to have conversation. So there'll be a little more one-on-one learning how to walk out daily life with Jesus instead of it being like, read this Bible verse, which we will be, and yes, please, but how do you walk it out day in, day out, and actually live your life walking with Christ? And so it will be more of a discipleship in that way.
Thank you. Are there any plans for grades 9 through 12?
Yes. Yes, our hope is actually next year to be able to roll the school into 9th grade, the following year 10th, and so on and so forth. Yes.
So if you're old, then sorry.
Yeah, so we're hoping that our 8th graders will be our first seniors or roll it out.
This is a two-parter that could be asked together, so just give me a moment. As far as low tech, what is the thought process behind that? ? Do you feel that the kids get enough education on technology at home, or that it's not necessary at all?
I think that we live in a world that is saturated with technology. Most kids are on technology 3+ hours a day. Matt's philosophy on this is probably my favorite that I've heard so far. Do we need to teach kids how to click, point, and drag? Because currently the way that technology is operated is a lot of click, point, and drag. And so they're figuring those things out on their own. The thing that they are not getting is good literature and the ability to sit around the table and have really good, rich conversation. And we want to encourage that opportunity and open the floor up for those kids to have that opportunity without being saturated with something they're already going to be saturated with in our culture.
Yes. What she said.
I also asked this question, and you said as they get older, closer to maybe graduating high school, there will be possibilities for some like coding classes and being like audio engineering and stuff like that. So it's, yeah.
So our goal for high school is going to look very different than our grammar and logic stage. When you're into a rhetoric stage, your class load it looks different. And what they're tracking for as a career could be technology, right? And we want, like we said from the beginning in our mission statement, our goal is to equip them to be able to pursue the calling that God has on their life. And if that calling is technology, we want to equip them in the best ways we can.
That's awesome. Well, I think that's an awesome note to end on. What do you think? Any final comments or no?
Thanks for tuning in. Your questions.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, let me pray for us and then then we could close it out. What do you say? God, we thank you for each and every potential teacher who tuned in today. God, would you just put it on their heart if this is what you have for them? God, and as we continue to just follow your path, would you just be so evident in the steps that we take, and would you just be so clear in how you want us to continue pursuing you and continuing to just call up this next generation into what you have for them and making them the best that you created them to be. God, we just love you, and we thank you that you use us in every opportunity in this community and in this world. God, we love you, and we're just so excited to do this with you. In your name we pray. Amen. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Johnny.